I'm Jim from Come Play With Us, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Thunder Road Carnival of Chaos. This is the new expansion that just came out. I'm reviewing the retail version of this, so I will not be talking about any of the kind of extra content that came with the Kickstarter. This is just the base version that you get at retail. Now, I am a huge fan of Thunder Road Vendetta, so I was really looking forward to this expansion. I think pretty much any expansion would be an auto buy for me at this point, but this one seemed really interesting, being that it introduced this arena battle to the original game. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick overview of this new expansion, Carnival of Chaos. I'm not going to do a full rules explanation of the base game. I'm going to assume you already know how to play that. I'm just going to explain the differences when using this expansion. So the biggest thing when using this expansion is this actually changes the way you play Thunder Road Vendetta. It's no longer a race. Now it's more like a Twisted Metal arena battle. And for this version of the game, you're going to select randomly 3 of the road tiles from the base game or the expansions. You can see here I am using expansion boards. So, and they play just regular with the regular rules. There's no changes to how these boards work, besides the fact that in this expansion, when you set up, there is no hazard tiles. Instead of hazard tiles, you have party favors. Okay. And when you start the game, you're going to come into the arena through one of the 3 boards, and the same rules apply. Even the bonus road die still works the same way that it does in the base game. The one hitch, though, is each of your cars has to come in through a different road. So you cannot bring 2 cars in through the same road. They each have to come in through a different road tile. So, one could come in through this side, one can come in this one, and one would have to come in through the top there. While you are on the road tiles, you cannot shoot. You cannot start shooting until your car is in the arena. Now, you can shoot cars that are still on the road section from the arena, but you cannot shoot unless you are in the arena. So even beyond the first turn. So that's a little different than the regular game. And you're going to play normal rounds of this. Take your usual turns. You're going to roll your dice. You're going to move all 3 of your cars. Everybody's going to do that. And at the end of the round, Turbo Tina is going to take a turn. And how you read her card here is she's going to give you 3 scrap, which are the points in this game. She's going to give the person 3 scrap who is in the spotlight area of the board. On this side of the map, there is just one spotlight area that's here, so whoever is in this spot at the end of the round, when Tina draws her card, will get 3 points. And then the pillars are going to flip, so D, E, and J. So these pillars here are on their roadsides right now, and they do flip back and forth at the end of each round to their pillar side, which becomes kind of like an obstacle. And so if anybody's on one of those when they flip, they're immediately eliminated. If you run into them, you're immediately eliminated, that kind of thing. And they will flip back and forth every round. And then she'll have some sort of decree that will last for the rest of the next round. So in this case, if you shoot and hit the car of a player with more scrap, steal 1 scrap and then gain scrap as normal for dealing damage. Okay. So in this version of the game, you are trying to get points. And you'll get 2 points for every point of damage that is inflicted on an opposing car on your turn. And then you'll get 3 points for every opposing car that's eliminated on your turn. And it doesn't matter who or how the car gets damaged or eliminated. If it happens on your turn, you will score the points. So if you create a chain reaction and that eliminates a car, even if it wasn't your car that finally eliminated that car, you get the points. Okay. Whenever a car ends a turn on one of these party favors, you'll collect the party favor, and this will be a one-time use thing that any of your cars can use. Okay, and these are pretty awesome. I mean, this one gives you end game points, so that's not super interesting. But like this one here, killer pillar, deactivate 1 killer pillar, and then activate another one. So that would let you, kind of like deactivate this one and activate any one of your choice, which would be good if somebody's like sitting on one and not expecting it to go off in the middle of the round. So there are a lot of really awesome one-time abilities with these party favors. These are pretty cool. And the other thing is, if you end your turn on one of these super weapon tokens, you're going to get, that car is going to get a super weapon. You'll draw a super weapon card. And these kind of act like the special powers in the Chop Shop expansion. So they will just get paired with that car, and they will stay with that car for the rest of the game. Okay, and these are also really awesome. So if you look at this one, turret, this car can shoot any space up to 2 spaces away in any direction. So these are awesome. Okay, so you're going to be trying to collect those for each of your cars, and they do stack with the Chop Shop modifications as well. So they work with that as well. And this expansion does work with all the other expansions with some minor tweaks here and there. So there's certain cards that you'll have to pull out. You know, anything that has to do with hazards, because hazards are not in this game, obviously. So then you don't play with anything like that. You can even play with the motorcycles, but not the big rig, obviously, because that just wouldn't work in this mode. And then you're going to keep playing until either you go a full 6 rounds or somebody is eliminated, and then whoever has the most scrap wins. That's all it is. Otherwise, it's all the other base rules still apply. The other thing is everybody gets one of these cards that they could use once during the game, and this one, they're all the same. You play at the start of your turn, and each time you shoot or slam, regardless of the result, gain 1 scrap. This is in addition to any scrap you would normally gain. At the end of the turn, return this card to the box. It's a once a game kind of thing. And that's basically it. I mean, it's a pretty simple expansion. It just adds another way to play the game. And, you know, it doesn't really change up the rules too much. Oh, I guess the one thing I didn't go over here is how does the movement work in the arena? It's actually pretty simple. So once you get into the arena, you still have the 3 direction arc in front of you that you can move, except now you can kind of go, you know, in circles, right? You can turn now. Every time you kind of move into a new hex, you have to face away from the hex you just entered from, right? So if I want to move like that, you know, I'm going to be kind of moving like that. The other thing is, I mean, I've only got one card color here, though. Also, if you slam into somebody and say they're, you know, let's say this guy was facing that way and I slam into them, the bottom car changes to the direction of the top car. And that's it. The rules, so the movement rules are pretty simple and, you know, fairly intuitive. Components for this game. For this one, you don't have to worry about components matching original. I mean, they do match the original game quite well, but nothing really here gets mixed into the base game. Of course, we'll be using base game maps, and they do match well with the arena board, but that's about it. Everything else, you either use base game components by themselves or the new expansion components by themselves. They don't really mix together. So in that way, you don't really have to worry about like cards not matching and stuff like that. So that's pretty good for this. You know, and otherwise, it's, you know, if you're familiar with, I mean, if you're getting, if you're watching this, you already have Thunder Road, and so, you know, it's just the components are the same level of quality, the original components. You get I love the awesome new purple player that comes with this. You know, this is a really nice purple color. It is one of my favorite colors in the game now. So yeah, they did a good job there. These, you know, these look very similar, same as the original cars. So yeah, it all matches quite well. And all the tokens are, you know, good, thick, sturdy cardboard that match. This arena board, there's 2 layers to it. There's a bottom part. There's a bottom part underneath where the boards slot into, and then this kind of overlays a bit on top of the 3 maps. It fits together quite snugly. Like you see, this doesn't really slide that much, so you know that works really well. And you know the cards are the usual card quality. I really like these Witness Me cards. They're, you know, they got the foil on them. They're really snazzy. They're one-time use, so they're cool. I like them. So overall, I think the component quality is top notch, as with all their games. Basically, I really love the quality of their games, and you know this is meets my expectations for Thunder Road. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the mechanics for this game. How does it compare to the original game? So I do like the way the only thing real mechanical difference here in the game, of course, is mainly the movement on the hex map, because now you have hexes instead of these chevrons. I guess these were on the original game. And I do think the movement rules are quite intuitive and simple. I like that they kept them pretty simple, and you'll learn them quite easily and quickly. We didn't really have any issues figuring out what direction the car could go, and with smashes and stuff, how things work. It works pretty smoothly, and there's no issues. Even though it's a bit more complicated because you're on a hex now instead of the chevron and the dice. I mean, that you're still using this die. Um, I don't know. I wonder why they didn't. I mean, they say to kind of place the die here and then kind of use it to figure out what direction you want to go. It would have been pretty easy, I think, just to include a new direction die. So it's interesting that they stuck with the one from the base game, but I guess you've got a mix of the old board and the new board, so maybe they figured it didn't make any sense, and it still has like all the directions. I mean, there's still you know so yeah, so I guess this is the one thing you might be able to pick on is not including a new direction die, even though I mean we didn't really have an issue with using this die and figuring out which direction the cars bounced around and stuff like that. So not a biggie, but yeah, that is a one interesting choice. The new super weapons, they work very similarly to the Chop Shop special ability cards. They're a little bit bigger than those cards, so they do kind of. There's some really awesome super weapons in here. I mean, I can give you a couple of examples. So we got like amplifier here. When this car shoots and hits, resolve the damage token's effect twice. Torsion Dynamo. This car can't shoot on your turn if this car is in a slam. The other car moves. A larger car may choose to re-roll the direction die after the slam. The car that moved takes a face down damage. This one's pretty good. I got killed with this one in the game we played. Energizer. When you shoot and hit with this car, re-roll movement die and immediately take another turn with this car. You can repeat this effect as many times as long as you keep hitting. So yeah, these are really awesome. So that's a fun part about this. Because in the beginning of the game, you're really going to be trying to get these favor tokens and these super weapons, because that'll be a big deal in the game. And then on this map, this is kind of a King of the Hill map. You'll want to get to, there's lots of points for if you can end up on that, on the spotlight spot by the end of the round. So Tina can give you 3 extra points. On the other board, there's 3 of these spots, so there's not as much contention for them, and there's not as many obstacles on the other side, so it's a little easier. This side, there's a whole bunch of obstacles, and there's only 1 spotlight spot, so it's more of a King of the Hill kind of map. And you do get the 2 maps, so that's nice that you have 2 options for the arena mode. And the Tina cards are pretty cool. I like how these work and how the killer pillars flip-flop, and that you get a decree for each round. These decrees do mix things up pretty nicely, add a new little wrinkle to the game. Okay, what don't I like about this expansion? Well, I guess the biggest thing to not like about this expansion would be if you were looking for something that added more to the base game. This is not it. I mean, the only thing this really adds to the base game is the new player color. So now you can play with 5 players. You could if you had the big rig expansion, but then you'd have to play with special rules of the motorcycle or the big rig. This is nice because now you can play just 5 vanilla players, and nobody has to play like a special player board or anything like that. So this is really nice. Like I said, it's a cool color. I like the purple color. But that's the only real thing that mixes in with the vanilla original Thunder Road Vendetta. So if you're looking for something like that, then you'll want to get one of the other expansions that are out already. This is not what you're looking for. This what else do I not like about this expansion? I can think with our game, it seems to last a bit longer. because you know we found it harder. Now I didn't play on this board's a little bit more destructive, but we found it a little harder to eliminate people because you're just running. There's more focus on shooting when you're in the arena than bumping. You know, because there's not as, I guess it depends on what side of the board, because there's more things to bump into on this side of the board. But on the other side, if you play the easier side of the board, it's more focused on shooting. It's harder to bump people and eliminate them. So you know, I think it's more on the other side of the board. It's going to be more of a 6-round game, and just whoever has the most points. So you know, it depends on the side you're playing the board. This one has more obstacles, so there's more opportunity to bump guys into things. The pillars didn't come into effect as much as I thought they would, because they are pretty easy to avoid unless somebody knocks you into one. But you know, again, it's hard to precisely knock somebody onto a specific hex because it's, you know, the knocking stuff is pretty random. Although there are some party favors that do help. There's one that I think called Precision or something that lets you set a die face instead of rolling it. So you could, if you had that party favor, you could kind of direct people a bit more. So, but we did find that it was more about shooting and getting the points than about destruction. But that it all depends on what's on the map you're playing. Hey, what do I like about this expansion? I like that this gives me another option in how to play the game. So if you know, this makes it basically Twisted Metal, the board game, which I mean, I was a huge Twisted Metal fan, so now having that option, have the arena battle, and I don't have to buy a whole new game. I can just, you know, sometimes if I want to play the Twisted Metal version, we can just play the Twisted Metal version, or you could just play the race version. The game's short enough that you could play both in one night, probably. Just, you know, pull out the other expansion components. I like the fact that I don't have to worry too much about mixing and removing the expansion components. They are pretty separate, so you know, the components for this expansion just go with this expansion, and you don't have to worry about, you know, mixing and matching. All the other expansions, like I said, work with this expansion with some very minor tweaks, like pulling out, I think you have to pull out a card here or there. Not a big deal, easy to set up. Didn't have much problem with that, so you can make this as simple or complicated as you want. And we went full expansions, chop shop and everything, and you know, didn't have any issues with mixing that with this expansion. So it works pretty well with the other expansions. When polling people around the game, like which version do they like better? Do you like the regular vanilla Thunder Road Vendetta, or do you like this new arena version of how to play the game? Pretty much around the table, we all agreed that we like them about the same. It does give you a different experience, but it's just a different experience with the same game, basically. So we enjoyed it just as much as the original version of the game. I guess one of the biggest differences is the roads won't swap in and out. So I mean, sometimes you like the excitement of, oh, what's the next road coming in and stuff like that. So that's not here. But then you've got the super weapons, which are super fun to go after and see, oh, what super weapon do I get? The party favors are awesome. Oh, what party favor am I going to get? Oh, how can I use these combinations? So this one's more like the game Twisted Metal or those kind of arena card battler games. It's about running around, grabbing the super weapons, and you know, finding a cool super weapon and blowing other people up and using them to get points and stuff like that. So if that seems something if that interests you, then I think you will enjoy this quite a bit. So overall, how do I feel about this expansion? I'm giving this expansion an 8. I would say this expansion is not essential. You know, you don't really need this if you have Thunder Road and you're happy with it. If you're just looking for a different way to play the game and an arena battle, Twisted Metal style game mode for Thunder Road Vendetta is something that interests you, then yeah, go for it. This is implemented very well. It's just as much fun as the original game, just adds some new wrinkles. Like I said, the most fun part about this is probably seeking out the super weapons and stuff. But yeah, otherwise it's just Thunder Road Vendetta in an arena, which is awesome. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.